Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time now for our quality time interview, our opportunity to spend a little bit more time with our next guest. And that guest is going to go out to Olathe West, the head coach of the cross country team, Kelsey Carbajo. Hey, coach, appreciate you joining us here on the show. Appreciate your time. For you, you finally get that season started, especially after the success that you've had. What's that feeling like when you finally get that year underway?
Well, I love everything that we get to do in the summer, and we get to spend a lot of time together and run. And we've been in the weight room. And then when we start season, it's almost like we're just officially starting when we've had a pretty good turnout all summer. So it's just fun to actually start officially with everyone together, and it's been fun so far.
For you, I know you were telling me that your passion for sports really kind of started out with volleyball. I know you were still a runner at that same time as well, but how did you eventually end up on cross country?
So I grew up playing volleyball, and then when I got to high school, I went to Spring Hill High School, and I was able to do both sports, so cross country and volleyball during the same season. Then still loved volleyball and was pretty good at running, but my love was volleyball. And so I went to college to play volleyball and ran track at Grandview University. And then after 2 years of volleyball, I was like, okay, I might be a little bit better at the running thing. And then ended up switching over to cross country. I graduate and I'm like, all I want to do is coach volleyball. I coach a club team, came back to Olathe Northwest, started coaching volleyball, lasted a year, and then realized that I should probably end up in cross country. And I have now been coaching cross country. This is my 10th year coaching cross country.
It seems like it was a pretty clear choice for you, but was it tough to fully make that switch? Okay, now I'm going to go from, volleyball, my first passion, now to cross country.
So I've always enjoyed volleyball as like just being a super big team sport and being able to be with your teammates and all of that. So once I realized that I could take that same mindset to cross country and make cross country, which is normally, I guess, viewed as an individual sport, if I could figure out how to make it a team sport, that was the changing point. Was like, oh, I can enjoy the whole team aspect on this cross country team. And that's just kind of honestly how we've v- built our program is we say often that cross country is only a team sport. And that's just kind of been our motto. So, yeah.
So why coaching for you? So you obviously the athletic background, but like what made you decide, okay, yeah, for sure coaching is for me?
Well, both of my parents were coaches at Spring Hill. And then when I first, honestly, when my sister was born and when she was younger, I used to pretend like she was my student. And so I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, like from a young age. And then when I got into sports, I was like, oh, wow, I really can't imagine my life without sports. So I, got into coaching and then I've never looked back. I've always knew I was going to do this, I guess.
Was your sister a good student? Did she feel like you were a good teacher?
That would be a question for her, but I think so because we still coach and teach together to this day. And so we view things very similar and we get along on a lot of things, but also we push each other to kind of disagree on some things that I think helps elevate our team culture and how we do things at Olathe West.
When you look at cross country coach, and my obvious question here or stupid question for the day would be like, how do you coach running? Like, what are some of the details that you're looking at? Whether a kid's coming in as a freshman or they're a grizzly vet going into their senior year, what are some of those keys that you're trying to get across?
Well, I think what we start with is like having fun. And so we find ways to make running fun. And maybe it's like that we're just introducing them to another teammate and we give them conversations to talk about while they're on their run. But team is super important to us. And I just believe that when you're doing something really hard with people you like and your friends, I think that that's when like running becomes easier. And then once we get you hooked, I think that's when we start talking more strategy and stuff like that. But the whole running part, I feel like probably comes last in our program, because we're so focused on having fun, being a team, and doing these things that maybe don't even have to do with running.
Kelsey Carbajo, the head coach of the Olathe West cross country team, joining us here. Any specifics on how you get that team orientation going? Any way or tips or practices that you feel like are good to make sure you do have a good team unit?
So I think it starts with the coaching staff. And if the coaching staff has a good relationship, then I think that just trickles on to everyone else in the program. But we also like talk about this kind of stuff often. This is not like there's rarely ever a day that we don't talk about the team aspect of cross country. And so that is super important to us, is just reminding them that this is how we do things around here. And then just creating opportunities for them to get together and have fun and do the things that maybe they don't get to do when they're in during summer, when they're not with their friends, like making time and putting forth effort towards their team. So those are just a few things that we do. And then obviously just celebrating the times when we do see them acting as a team. And I mean, there's a lot more that we do, but I think just those small little things, and then they become big things. And um, I don't even think that at the end of the season, I don't even think they remember that at the start of the season they weren't friends, because they've spent so much time together, and that stuff has just become natural to them.
So you've won 5 straight state championships now. A remarkable feat. Congratulations on that. But can you feel that momentum that you had, that success that you have within your program?
Yeah, I think that obviously winning is fun, and having success is a lot of fun. But I think that what we have tried to preach is like the working hard and the process to get there and all of that is like far more fun than it's the journey that you have, going into this. And so I think when everyone is moving in the same direction and they all have the same goals and they all have the same standard that we're going after, that's when I think the greatness and the momentum, I think that's where it comes from, is like when they are enjoying the journey and all going after the same goal and after the same standard.
Take me through some of that drama of that last state championship, that fifth one. It seemed like you guys thought you lost by one, finished as a runner-up, but then the new results came in and found out that you ended up getting the tiebreaker. What was that emotional roller coaster like?
Yeah, so I feel like I have really good running math. So I'm, counting the runners as they come in, and I'm like seeing our fifth runner come in compared to the other teams we were competing at's fifth runner, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is gonna be real close. So I'm like sprinting to the finish line, and anyone who knows Rimrock knows that there's not a ton of service out there, and so when I originally got the results to refresh, it showed that we had taken second place, and we were second place by 1 point. And so I like, feel crushed for the girls, and I pull them together and I tell them like, hey, this is what happens when you like let the voice in your head talk to you and you kind of give up and let somebody pass you at the end. It always comes down. We talk about how every point matters. And so I'm talking to them, they all start crying. It's a very emotional time. And then our AD, actually, Mr. Butler, texted me and was like, "Oh wait, I just refreshed again," and I was able to get his text, but I still couldn't refresh Mile Split to give us the places. And so he, I guess, is the first person that said, "Hey, you just won on a tiebreaker." So we finally get it to refresh. I go back to our girls' huddle, who are like a mess because we thought we lost by
Right?
1 point, and I go and tell them like, "Hey, we just like remember that voice I told you, and every point matters." I said every point matters, and we just won on the tiebreaker. And the whole shift from like tears of like such defeat and disappointment and all the things turned into tears of happiness those pictures, somebody was able, I think Mac Moore was able to get pictures of us at the end of the race, and we're explaining it to them. And those pictures I'll always cherish forever. They're just so great because you see the like raw emotion of these girls who've worked so hard, some of them for 4 years. And it was just an incredible moment. So.
What is that waiting process like there at the state cross country meets as far as getting those results? Do you have a general idea of maybe like where you guys stand?
I mean, I am trying to keep the math in my head and like try to count their top five runners and our top five runners. So I can usually tell a little bit, I guess. But when it was close like that, there were three teams that were battling for first place: Shawnee Mission East and Washburn Rural, and it was so hard to tell. I would bet that their coaches would say the same thing because it was a very, very close race. So it's nerve wracking as a coach because you're out there and you can't do much other than encourage them and cheer them on. But I think that that day it was just a fun moment for us. That when we found out that we had won, that was just an incredible feeling and an incredible moment.
Coach, appreciate the time. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
That is Kelsey Carbajo, the head coach of the Olathe West cross country team, joining us here for quality time on Kansas Sports Chatter.